The stars looked peaceful above Earth. It was night in many parts of the planet and people were living their normal lives. Children were sleeping. Cars moved slowly on empty roads. Scientists worked late in labs. Everything felt calm. But above, the calm sky far beyond the moon, something was coming. Something large, something cold. In the deep silence of space, a shape moved, then many more followed. Hundreds of ships appeared without a sound. They didn't come through wormholes or portals. They simply slid into reality, using technology no one on Earth had ever seen. Their ships were black, sharp, and shaped like blades. These were not friendly ships. They came in formation. They came for conquest. The Galactic Empire had arrived. For the people of Earth, there was no warning. Their satellites noticed strange lights, then went silent. Space stations near Mars went dark. Communication from the outer planets stopped. Panic started in quiet whispers. Scientists at first thought it was an asteroid storm, but when Earth's main defense radar caught the true size and shape of the incoming fleet, they knew it was not natural. It was a military force, huge, fast, and heading straight for Earth. Within minutes, the news reached world governments. Leaders from every country were pulled into emergency meetings. Phones rang, alarms sounded, military bases went on full alert, fighter jets were launched. But deep inside, every general knew this was not a war they could win, not with old Earth. Weapons, not with bullets and bombs. Then it happened. Every screen on Earth, TVs, computers, phones turned black for a second. Then a message appeared. The words were not in any known human language, but people understood them anyway. The message was simple. Planet Earth, you belong to the Galactic Empire now. Surrender all power, or be destroyed. People froze. In homes, cafes, airports, and schools, they stared at their screens. Some screamed, some cried, some just sat still, unable to believe what they were seeing. Children asked their parents what the message meant. No one had a good answer. High above Earth, the alien ships stopped. They formed a circle around the planet. Then, one ship moved closer. It was massive, 10 times larger than any human-made ship. Its shadow passed over the moon, making it look like an ant under a boot. A new message followed. You have 1 hour to reply. After that, we attack. On Earth, leaders gathered in hidden bunkers. The President of the United States spoke with the Chinese Premier, the Russian leader, the European Council, and others. They all agreed. Earth had no chance in a full fight. Their weapons were not ready for a space war. The best fighter planes would be like insects against those alien warships. Some wanted to surrender. Some wanted to negotiate. Some wanted to fire everything they had. But one old general, a man with white hair and sharp eyes, said something different. Let's send the warning. Everyone turned to him. Most had forgotten what he meant, but a few remembered. Long ago, Earth had started a secret project. It was never meant to be used, just in case the worst happened. It was called Protocol Dread. It had one purpose: to send a signal, a message so terrifying, so strange, that it would make any invader think twice. It was built to use Earth's last unknown weapons, psychological, digital, hidden in deep space. It had never been tested. No one knew if it would work. But there was no other option now. The general gave the order. Far above the planet, a hidden station came online. It had been sleeping in orbit for 50 years. Now, its systems came alive. Red lights blinked, engines hummed. A deep metallic voice spoke one word: active. Then the message was sent. It wasn't long. It didn't have pictures or loud sounds. It was just a voice, calm, slow, and cold. Do not proceed. You have been warned. That was all. The message was sent on every frequency in every known language and some unknown ones too. It reached not only the alien fleet but bounced across the galaxy. It reached planets that hadn't heard from Earth in centuries. It reached deep space probes. And most importantly, it reached the command ship of the Empire. On board that massive ship, the alien leaders laughed. One of them, a tall creature with silver skin and 6 eyes, shook his head. "Is this their defense?" he said. "Words?" Another alien clicked its claws together. "They are weak. We crush them now." But one officer didn't laugh. She stared at the message again and again. Her fingers shook slightly. She had seen something like this before, on a lost world in the outer zone. That planet had sent a similar warning. The Empire had ignored it, and no one had returned. She opened her mouth to speak, but the commander shouted first, "Prepare the weapons. Fire in 20 minutes." Back on Earth, people waited. Families stayed together, holding hands. Some people prayed, others watched the sky. In the bunkers, military leaders stared at screens. Nothing had changed yet. The Empire hadn't replied. The fleet hadn't moved. Then, it began. One of the Empire's small ships, far out near Pluto, exploded. There was no flash, no warning, just gone. The aliens thought it was an accident, a system failure, but then a second ship vanished. This one near Saturn, no signal, no enemy seen. Just gone. Panic started to grow in the alien fleet. Commands flew between ships. Scans were done. Weapons were charged. But no enemy appeared. The darkness of space stayed quiet. Earth's weapons hadn't fired. Yet their ships were dying. In the Empire's command room, the silver-skinned commander slammed his fist on the table. "Who attacks us? Where is this enemy?" No one had an answer. Then the lights on their ship flickered. One screen turned black, then another. Words appeared again, this time only on the command ship. "You were warned." On Earth, the general smiled for the first time in hours. He turned to the others and said, "They don't understand us, they don't know what we are." "Then tell them," someone whispered. The general nodded. "We just did." Above Earth, the alien fleet started to pull back. Not fast, not all at once. But small ships began moving. Some turned away completely. Others moved into tighter groups, forming defense circles. The Empire was scared. Not defeated, but unsure. Earth had done the unthinkable. It had sent a message that made a galactic empire stop and think. And somewhere, far above the Earth, something else woke up. In the darkness beyond the moon, a small shape moved, silent, hidden, not human, not alien, but built long ago by human hands. A machine with no name, a weapon never used. It opened its eyes, and for the first time, it spoke. Target acquired. No one saw it yet. No one knew what it was. But the Empire would soon learn. The war had not started. It had only begun. The alien fleet no longer moved with confidence. After the first mysterious losses, their tight formation broke slightly. Small scout ships hovered at a distance, unsure whether to stay or flee. The command ship still remained in position, but the quiet between the stars had changed. It wasn't calm anymore. It felt like something was watching. Inside one of Earth's hidden bunkers, the old general stood still. All screens showed the same thing. Alien ships holding position but not attacking. One young officer whispered, "Is it working?" No one answered. The air was filled with tension, like everyone was holding their breath at once. Suddenly, a blinking light appeared on one of the monitors. It wasn't an attack. It wasn't a message. It was something else. A signal. Very old. Very specific. The general leaned forward. His eyes widened slightly. "Protocol Dread," he said softly, "has activated the second phase." Far above, Earth in the shadow of the moon, hidden behind old satellites and space debris, a small dark object opened its long dormant systems. This object wasn't a weapon in the traditional sense. It didn't fire, it didn't explode. It listened. It watched. It reached into the invisible layers of space where signals and data moved like rivers, and it began to speak, not with words, but with silence. One by one, Empire ships started experiencing strange malfunctions. Their lights flickered. Navigation systems failed. Maps spun in circles. Pilots looked around, confused. Their instruments said they were still, yet they were moving. Orders from the command ship arrived late. broken into unreadable fragments. The more they tried to fix the problem, the worse it became. Inside the alien command ship, voices grew louder. Officers barked commands, but their screens only showed static. They tried to scan Earth, but the planet's signal had vanished, as if it wasn't there at all. Only one thing remained. The same voice from before. Calm. Measured. Cold. You were warned. The commander of the Empire stood still, no longer laughing. He looked around at his crew, many of whom were now whispering to each other in fear. Something unseen was peeling away their confidence. They had not yet lost a battle, but something inside them had begun to shake. On Earth, the general watched as a second signal was sent. It was not loud. It didn't flash. It was a deep wave sent through old frequencies, bouncing from one long-lost satellite to another. It touched every corner of Earth's defense system, waking up pieces that had not been touched in decades. From underground labs to deep ocean observatories, ancient machines hummed with life. They all carried the same program, built years ago and hidden from every official record. No one in power had expected it to work. Now, it was their only hope. Back in space, a scout ship from the Empire moved closer to Earth, hoping to gather data. But as it passed over Earth's magnetic field, all of its systems suddenly powered off. No sound, no movement. It simply drifted. Lights out. Then, without warning, it changed direction. Slowly, carefully, the ship turned around by itself. It wasn't moving under the pilot's control. Inside, the alien crew panicked as the ship turned toward the rest of the Empire's fleet. The engines came back on, but no one on board had touched them. The ship sent a message to the fleet. It wasn't from the pilots, it was the same Earth voice, soft, clear. "This is your final warning." The fleet froze. No shots had been fired, no enemy had been seen, but the message was louder than any weapon. Back in the Empire's command center, whispers turned to worry. One advisor leaned close to the commander. "We should leave," she said. "This is not a normal world. Something here is different." They didn't answer us with fear. They answered us with a promise. The commander looked through the glass of his ship toward the quiet blue planet below. He felt something he hadn't felt in centuries. Uncertainty. He thought Earth would be simple, a soft target. But now, even with all his power, he wasn't sure anymore. And Earth wasn't done yet. Because deep beneath the planet's surface, another signal was forming. Quiet. Strong. It wasn't for the aliens. It was for someone else. Someone far away. And they were listening. Beneath Earth's surface, deeper than any subway tunnel or missile silo, a signal pulsed in total silence. It was not sent by a human hand. It came from a machine that had been asleep for more than 100 years. A machine designed not to fight, but to remember. And now, it was waking up. The pulse echoed through the core of the planet, slow and steady, like a heartbeat. It climbed through layers of rock, metal, and secret cables until it reached a listening tower hidden in the Arctic ice. That tower, buried under a frozen mountain, did not flash or blink. It simply received the signal and quietly passed it forward, into space. Far beyond the solar system, past dust clouds and abandoned satellites, an old probe floated in darkness. It had been sent long ago by human scientists who dreamed of meeting other life. The Empire had never noticed it. To them, it was just trash drifting in the dark. But now the probe came alive. Its antenna pointed in a new direction. It received the signal, decoded it, and sent it farther, toward something unknown, something hidden. Somewhere out there, past old galaxies and cold stars, something else had been waiting. Back near Earth, the Empire's ships were still frozen in place. Their leaders had stopped sending threats. Instead, they were waiting, watching, unsure of what would happen next. Inside their command ship, the screens were mostly dark. Navigation was still broken. Messages were still delayed. Earth had gone quiet again, but not in a peaceful way. The silence felt like pressure. On the bridge, the alien commander stood alone, staring at a small blinking dot on his display. It was the scout ship that had drifted back toward their fleet. The ship was now sending a steady signal. It was not words or images, just a pattern, the same 3 tones repeated again and again. The pattern had no meaning in their language, but it was known to Earth. In the hidden Earth bunker, the old general leaned forward as the pattern played on their monitor. A scientist standing nearby whispered, "That's our old code. Level Omega, the Tant." General nodded slowly. "Then they've received it." "What does it mean now?" asked another officer. The general looked up. "It means someone is on their way." Everyone in the room became quiet. Back in space, the strange pattern suddenly stopped. The scout ship powered down again, this time completely. It floated, near the rest of the fleet like a warning buoy, untouched, unreadable. None of the Empire's engineers could explain what had happened, and then something new appeared. Far behind the alien fleet, a single signal blinked into view. At first, it was just a dot, small, moving slowly. No shape could be seen, no size could be measured, but it was coming toward Earth at an impossible speed. The alien sensors tried to scan it, but their data came back blank. The commander gave the order to focus all tracking systems on the object, but none of their tools could tell what it was. It had no energy signature, no known engine pattern, and no communication waves. It was simply arriving. In the Earth bunker, scientists stared at the same object with growing hope. The signal was clear now. Old, but familiar. It matched a file buried deep in Earth's archives. It had one name: the Ark. No one knew who had launched it. Some said it was a secret alliance of scientists. Others believed it was an artificial intelligence created in a forgotten lab. But what mattered now was that it had returned, and it was answering the call. The alien fleet began to shift. Ships turned, engines warmed, not to attack, but to prepare. The unknown was worse than any weapon. Something was coming, and they didn't know if it was friend or foe. But Earth stood still. Its defenses didn't move. No missiles were launched. No warnings were sent. Just silence. And from that silence, a message appeared once again on every screen, in the same voice that had spoken before. You came with demands. You received a choice. Now, you wait. The object moved closer. Still, no shape. Still no sound. But the stars behind it seemed to bend slightly, as if they didn't want to be near it. A soft pressure began to build across the alien sensors. Not heat, not gravity, just weight, like a presence that shouldn't be there. The Empire's crew members looked at each other. Their training had prepared them for war, but not for fear that had no shape. The commander stared at the screen and said nothing. Back on Earth, a small group of scientists stood in a quiet room. No military leaders, no weapons, just data. And one of them smiled faintly. "They're not ready for it," she whispered. "Ready? For what?" someone asked. She turned toward the stars and said, "The part of humanity they forgot existed." The unknown object drew closer to the alien fleet. It moved with a quiet certainty, like a shadow crossing the stars. No bright lights, no noise, just a presence that seemed to stretch across space itself. The Empire's crew stared at their instruments, trying to understand what they faced. Yet no tool could explain the calm power coming closer. Inside the Earth bunker, the old general paced slowly. His eyes never left the monitor that tracked the approaching object. "This is unlike anything we've seen," he said. "It's not a ship, it's not a weapon, it's something else." A young scientist standing near the general spoke quietly. "It's called the Ark. It was built to protect humanity's greatest secret." She hesitated, then continued. "A secret the Empire never expected." The general looked up sharply. "What secret?" The scientist took a deep breath. "The Ark holds the key to Earth's true strength. Not soldiers or ships, but knowledge. Knowledge that can change the balance of power across the galaxy." Outside, The alien fleet shifted uneasily. They had fought many battles and conquered many worlds. But this silent visitor unsettled them. Their usual confidence had turned to quiet worry. The commander stared at the view screen. "Prepare for contact," he ordered, "but stay cautious. We do not know its purpose." As the Ark came closer, its true form slowly began to reveal itself. Not a large warship or a shining city in space, but a complex shape made of light and metal, moving like a living thing. It glowed softly with colors that changed without pattern. It was beautiful, strange, and ancient. Inside the Ark, something stirred. Not a person, not a machine, but something that had waited a long time. A calm presence, filled with knowledge. From generations before Earth was even called home. It began to send a signal. This one was different from before. It was warm and clear, reaching out through space and time. The alien ships tried to block the signal, but it passed through every barrier. It touched each mind, quietly but firmly, like a whisper in a crowded room that suddenly grows loud. On the command ship, the commander felt a change inside himself. His fears did not vanish, but a new feeling arrived. Curiosity. Something new and unknown. Back on Earth, the general watched as messages from the Ark linked with their own systems. Data flowed like a river, faster than anything they had seen. Old programs in hidden bunkers woke up. Satellites around the world began to hum with new energy. Earth itself seemed to respond. The scientist smiled. "We are not alone anymore," she said softly. "And we are not weak." Suddenly, the alien fleet's communications went silent. The commander called for status reports, but no one answered. Screens flickered, systems slowed. It was as if the Ark's presence was touching them all, shifting something inside. Without warning, the Ark sent a new message, this time in words the aliens could understand. "You came for Earth with threats. You found a warning. Now you will see what happens when a secret is protected." The aliens watched as the Ark's light expanded, slowly wrapping around the fleet. But it did not harm. It did not destroy. Instead, it showed images, visions of Earth's history, of its struggles, its dreams, and the power of its people. The commander felt something inside his heart. Not fear, not anger, but respect. He realized Earth was not a simple target. It was a force hidden beneath layers of peace and silence, a force waiting to be understood. On Earth, the general stood tall. The Ark's presence was a promise, not just a defense. It was a call to the galaxy, a call that said humanity was ready. And the Empire had a choice: leave, or learn what it meant to face a world that would never bow. The calm that followed the Ark's arrival was deeper than silence. It was a waiting stillness, like the moment before a storm, except no one could say what kind of storm it would be. The Empire's fleet held its position, watching the glowing shape that moved like a guardian in space. The commander stared at the screen, trying to understand what power this strange visitor held. He did not know if it was friend or foe, but he knew it was something beyond his experience. Back on Earth, the general and his team gathered in the war room. The screens were alive with data streaming from the Ark. It was not just technology, it was history, culture, and knowledge from humanity's past and future. The Ark was a vessel of memory, carrying secrets that could change everything. Young technician leaned forward and asked, "What will the Empire do? They have never met a defense like this." The general smiled slightly. "They will have to choose. Either they leave peacefully, or they learn the truth of Earth's strength." Meanwhile, the Empire's commanders held secret meetings on their ship. They debated what to do next. Some feared the unknown and wanted to retreat. Others wanted to stay and try to take the Ark's power for themselves. But the mysterious light and signals made their decisions harder. No one wanted to act first and risk what they did not understand. In the darkness between the stars, the Ark sent another message. This one was clearer, warmer. It spoke in a voice that was neither human nor alien, but something in between. "To those who come seeking Earth, know this. We are not weak. We carry the knowledge of our ancestors and the hope of our children. We will not be broken. We will not be bent. The message reached every ship in the Empire's fleet, echoing inside their minds. It was not a threat. It was a promise that Earth's spirit was unbreakable. On Earth, the general turned to his team. "Prepare for contact," he said. "Not for war, but for understanding." Outside, the Ark's light spread gently, touching the edges of the Empire's ships. The aliens watched as images appeared on their screens, pictures of Earth's beauty, its struggles, and the people who lived there. They saw families, scientists, artists, and children. They saw hope and strength born from struggle. The commander's heart changed. He remembered stories from his own world, of peace, of learning, of growth. He realized Earth was not just a prize to be taken. It was a lesson waiting to be learned. The Ark sent one final message before it moved closer to Earth. We do not seek war. We seek respect. We invite those who come with open hearts to join us. But those who come with fear or anger will find only the strength of a world united. The alien fleet slowly began to pull back. The commander spoke to his crew. "We will return to our people and share what we have seen. Earth is not the easy target we believed. It is a world alive with power we cannot yet understand." On Earth, the general watched the stars grow quiet again. The Ark's presence remained, a shining guardian above the planet. He knew this was only the beginning. The Empire would come back. But now humanity was ready. Not just with weapons, but with knowledge, courage, and a future they would shape together. The stars waited, the future waited, and Earth stood strong. The stars above Earth seemed to watch silently as the alien fleet slowly turned away. The command ship, once full of pride and threat, now moved back through space with quiet hesitation. The commander sat alone in the dim light of the bridge, his thoughts heavy. This was not a defeat by force, but a surrender of understanding. The power of Earth was no longer a mystery, and it weighed on his mind like a silent tide. Back on Earth, the general stood outside the command bunker, looking up at the night sky. The glow of the Ark still shimmered faintly, a reminder that humanity's future was now linked to something far greater than any one planet or people. Around him, the world was waking from a long dream, one of fear and division, and stepping toward unity and hope. Inside the Ark, the presence that had awakened long ago began to share more with Earth. It opened hidden chambers of knowledge, long locked away beneath layers of time. Secrets of the stars, forgotten science, and ancient wisdom flowed into human minds like a gentle river. The scientists and leaders gathered, eager and humble, ready to learn and grow. The Ark did not promise easy answers. Instead, it offered challenges and opportunities, paths humanity had never walked before. It spoke of balance and respect, of using knowledge to build rather than to break. It reminded Earth that power was not only in strength, but in understanding and cooperation. Far beyond Earth, news of the Ark's arrival spread slowly through the galaxy. Some worlds were curious, others cautious, but all could not ignore the message. Humanity was no longer a silent planet. It was a voice rising, clear and strong. The Empire's leaders returned home, their stories different from what they had imagined. They spoke not of conquest, but of respect for a people who had waited, watched, and then stood tall without a single weapon fired. Their message was one of warning, to those who thought strength came only from battle, and of hope, to those who believed peace could be born from courage. On Earth, the general smiled as he watched children play under the stars. Their laughter was a promise, a new beginning. He knew the Empire might return someday, but humanity would be ready, not with fear, but with wisdom. The Ark's light grew brighter, a guardian and guide for the world. It was a reminder that the greatest power was not in war, but in the strength of a united people, and Earth was ready to shine.